The requirement of 60 votes to proceed with the business of the Senate. The reason why that's essential is the Democrats are prepared to accept the responsibility of funding the government and dealing with our national debt, acknowledging our debt ceiling. And if the Republicans don't care to be part of that conversation or to engage in it, that's their wish, that's what they can have. But Senator McConnell has put in a filibuster, a requirement of 60 votes, which makes it literally impossible for the Democrats on their own to accept their responsibility. He didn't mention it the entire time. I think we have reached a new low point in the United States Senate, where the Republican leader and his followers, to a person, are prepared to jeopardize the economy of the United States for purely political reasons. We know that this filibuster means we need Republican votes to move this measure, and he's made it quite clear that he won't give those votes, at least as of yesterday. I can only hope that Republican senators going home, maybe this weekend, hearing from their constituents and businesses, will have second thoughts about this and accept that bipartisan responsibility we all face. There's a second thing which you had to listen very carefully to catch with Senator McConnell's opening statement. He went on to say at great length that the last time we passed a debt ceiling extension was in August. And he said, incidentally, all the spending leading up to August was covered by that debt ceiling. Well, that may have been true. What did he fail to tell us? There was another bill that he voted for, Trump supported, the Republicans supported, and the Democrats voted for it too in December for $900 billion in spending. That wasn't covered by the earlier August debt ceiling. He knows that. So to say all the debt of the Trump administration has been taken care of just isn't the fact. And I'm glad we have a chance to clarify that. He seems to think that we're going to, quote, hurt families and help China if we press forward with the reconciliation bill. Does it hurt families to find an affordable way to have quality daycare for their kids? I don't think so. Does it hurt families when children get a chance for pre-K education so they're ready for school when the day comes? Does it hurt families when we extend education from K through 12 to K through 14 and say to our community colleges, we're going to give you a mission, prepare the workforce for the 21st century, give these Americans the skills they need for a good paycheck and a home and a family and a future? According to the senator from Kentucky, that hurts American families. I think he's just flat out wrong. It helps them in critical ways. It really addresses expenses and challenges they face and need a helping hand to succeed. And in terms of helping China, a competitive American workforce, investment in research and innovation does not help China. If we invest in this country, in its people, in its ideas, we have always succeeded and led the world. So I disagree with the senator from Kentucky completely. His approach, tax breaks for the wealthiest Americans, corporations that frankly can escape any tax liability, hasn't worked, and it won't work. It's fundamentally unfair, and it fails to invest in the people that need it the most, working families, middle-income families, children and their future. And now, Mr. President, I ask that these remarks to follow be in a separate place in the record.
Without objection.
Mr. President, coincidentally, last Friday, you and I made a trip to Chicago. Senator Padilla, as chairman of the Immigration Subcommittee of Judiciary, joined me in visiting one of the most amazing neighborhoods in the city. We spent the day in Little Village, a neighborhood in the southwest part of the city known as the Mexican capital of the Midwest. During our visit, we walked down 26th Street, the commercial heart of Little Village. It's lined with more than 100 family-owned shops and restaurants. People travel from all over the country to try their homemade tamales, stop for the quinceañera dresses, experience a little slice of Mexico right here in America. Families who own the businesses on 26th Street are proof that the American dream is alive and well. Remember La Chiquita Grocery? To think that the founder, I guess it was almost 35 years ago, took the venture of opening a grocery store, now has 7 or 8 of them in the region, and they are so proud of their store, this anchor store that we were guests in, to show us all the things that were available to folks living in the neighborhood. Whether these folks arrived in our country a few years ago or a few generations ago, these families contribute to the economic vitality of the city of Chicago every day. Little Village that we visited is a major economic engine in Chicago. That 2-mile stretch of 26th Street is the second highest grossing shopping district in all of Chicago. And those family-run businesses generate nearly $1 billion in sales each year. Bilingual communities like Little Village make America richer, stronger, culturally and economically. They're living proof that immigrants are still an essential part of America's future. And there are millions of people who've been contributing to our economy and our communities for years, but they've been left behind by our broken immigration system. That's exactly what the presiding officer and I, along with many of our colleagues in the Democratic caucus, that's exactly what we're trying to include is an immigration reform in the Build Back Better package that will come before the Senate in the coming days. Let me tell you about one of these immigrants that we're focused on. Roughly 10 miles south of where Senator Padilla and I toured Little Village, there's a trauma center, Advocate Christ Medical Center. It's one of the busiest in Chicago's South Side. One of the doctors who recently completed his residency in that trauma center is Dr. Manuel Bernal Meja. During this pandemic, Dr. Bernal has been saving lives every day in the emergency room. He cared for Chicagoans at all stages of life, from delivering babies to providing comfort to patients during their last moments. And he's cared for more COVID patients than he can count. It is in our country that Dr. Bernal works every day to take care of our friends and loved ones. It is in our country that Dr. Bernal graduated from college and medical school. And it's in our country that Dr. Bernal has lived since he was 2 years old. Despite that, Dr. Bernal, who is now an emergency room physician in nearby Rockford, has still been left behind by our broken immigration system, and there are thousands more just like him. According to the definition established by former President Trump, there are more than 200,000 DACA recipients that have served as, quote, essential critical infrastructure workers during the pandemic. That includes more than 40,000 healthcare workers like Dr. Bernal. Some of them work in emergency rooms like him, others as nurses, paramedics, respiratory therapists. So let's ask a basic question when it comes to immigration. Would America be better? Would Illinois be better? Would Chicago be better without Dr. Bernal? All of the dreamers who are working every day to save American lives in our hospitals? I don't think so. For dreamers like Dr. Bernal, DACA has been a lifeline. It's given them a chance to give back to the only home they've ever known. But we all know DACA is not a permanent solution. The reality is dreamers have been standing on shaky ground for far too long. These young people are the best. They defend us as members of our military, care for our parents and family members as home health aides, and they teach our children in school. But because Congress has failed to fix our broken immigration system, dreamers with DACA can only plan their lives in 2-year increments. And every day they live in fear that the rug's going to be pulled out from under them any moment. It happened under President Trump. He tried to eliminate the program. It was finally saved at the highest court in the land across the street, in the Supreme Court. Dreamers and immigrants like them who give everything they can to our country deserve a path to legal status. The fact is, their future is our future. As I mentioned, the budget reconciliation package the Senate's expected to vote on soon contains President Biden's Build Back Better plan, a blueprint for our nation to mount an enduring economic recovery. The proposals included in that plan would supercharge our economy by cutting taxes for working families, making child care, health care, and transportation more affordable, providing a path to legal status for undocumented immigrants. Let me say that another way. Immigration reform will drive our nation's economic recovery for years to come. A pathway to legal status for dreamers, TPS recipients, and essential workers could boost our nation's GDP by $1.5 trillion over the next 10 years. $1.5 trillion. Additionally, a path to legalization could create 400,000 new jobs and increase every American's annual wage by an estimated $600. How can that be? putting these immigrants to work on the payroll, how could that help other people? Because we have a dynamic economy, and what we saw on 26th Street in Chicago can be replicated over and over again if these new immigrants are given a chance to work hard, as they all do, show their skills, and build the economy around them. Our nation's leaving billions, if not trillions of dollars on the table by failing to fix our broken immigration system. Earlier this month, the White House published a report that found that providing a path to permanent legal status would, quote, allow currently unauthorized immigrants to pursue and accept jobs for which their skills are well suited. Many of these immigrants are of prime working age, which means they can help grow our nation's tax base for the foreseeable future. That's money that can go toward shoring up Social Security, Medicare, and funding our nation's priorities. In fact, leading economists have argued that America needs immigrants to keep these programs solvent. In the words of Mark Zandi, Moody's chief economist, the United States is, quote, not going to be able to address our fiscal problems if we don't change our policy with regard to immigration. He's not alone. Other economists agree. Douglas Holtz-Aiken, president of the right-leaning American Action Forum, has argued that in the absence of immigration, America will, quote, shrink in population, become older, less important on the world stage. With the Build Back Better plan, this Senate is finally taking up the important work of investing in America's future. That means building railroads, transit networks, and connecting communities, providing funding for high-quality child care so every parent can have a safe place to leave their child during the workday. And it also means providing immigrant families a stable footing they need to contribute to our future. For these families, make no mistake, America is home. And every day they help to make our communities better and our economy stronger. That's the case we plan on making to the Senate parliamentarian once again. This is the first opportunity we've had in a long, long time to begin building an immigration system that works for America. And for our own sake, I hope we can get it done. Mr. President, I yield the floor. Suggest the absence of quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.